What's up, guys? Welcome back to the second ever episode 49 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Woo!
As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one half of the coolest dudes in video games.
Hi.
Greg Miller.
What's up?
Colin Moriarty is off in the great
Gallivanting.
beyond, doing some stuff.
In the great beyond.
And Nick's here.
What do I have to do to be one half, like the other half, the other half of the
Oh,
coolest
no,
dudes in
it's
gaming?
you want to know? It's real
Yeah,
simple. Hey,
yeah.
Nick, what have you been playing lately?
Nothing.
If you can answer that fucking question with a game.
Fair
I
enough.
just like saying Nick's here.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Nick's here.
It just deflates me and puts me in my place.
It's one of
my
those
little
where
place.
the dice were rolled that we were going to have to do an episode here.
Yeah.
Because you screwed up my perfect schedule.
Things happened.
And you screwed it up.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Your perfect schedule.
Exactly.
I don't know if it
Where
was.
everything was dated correctly.
Don't think so.
I think it was.
No, not sure. So here's what happened. We work on a weird ass calendar where these episodes go live, early on Patreon. You can go over there on the Kind of Funny Games.
Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
And you can get these episodes early, or you can get them later for free on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. But the problem there is then when we talk about what date does this episode come out, what Friday are we talking about? The early Friday or the later Friday?
Yeah.
Now, that's easier to handle when you're doing one at a time.
Right.
But we're trying to gear up for the holidays.
Right.
So we're doing a couple episodes at a time out of order. We got all types of confused. So I celebrated
You got all
episode
types.
50.
You got all types of confused.
Hey, Game Over Greggy's show wasn't perfect either, my friend. That's why we have to fucking record.
You did
That's
something.
what I
You
got.
did something. I put everything on the
I
calendar and
did
it made
something.
sense. And then you went in there and mucked
Yeah,
it
it's
up.
because Colin was like, I'm going on vacation.
And I said,
then,
fuck them. We don't need them for the shows.
but then we had to do stuff on Sunday, and that's where things went wrong, Greg.
Okay.
That Sunday. This Sunday. Last Sunday.
Time is a flat circle. It means nothing to us.
So,
just for reference, what day are we supposed to be saying today is?
No, we're long gone on that point.
today,
That doesn't matter.
today is Star Wars Day. We
Yeah, it
still
is Star
haven't
Wars
seen
Day.
it yet, but we're going to see it.
Kevin saw it.
soon. This is actually timely. This is a normal episode.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah, like this episode's coming out.
Well,
when it
what's
appropriately
fascinating about this is God smiles upon us every so often.
He gives
and
us
so yeah, it
stars.
was one of those. Oh, Nick's gonna be on this episode with us, and like, okay, we'll figure it out. And then all the topics played out in a way that Nick actually has something to say about them, and I was
And
very
which
fuck
I'm
yeah.
very, very excited about that. But we didn't even explain what we did wrong, which was
Tim screwed up the calendar.
we recorded episodes 50 and 51 already, and I made a big deal about it being episode 50. And then I teased what we're doing in episode 52.
in each episode, we are like, don't forget, in
Yeah.
1 week, in 2 weeks, this is
Yeah.
happening.
The first time I ever specifically call out like what's happening
We're
next
such
week.
idiots.
And yeah, so then we're fucked. So now this is the second ever episode 49.
Which I like.
Yeah, Deuce-K. We might as well call it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
this is Ryan
Well,
Clements'
it's like,
favorite episode.
I want to call it like a Final Fantasy name. So it'll just be another
Kinda Funny
episode,
Games.
Deuce-K. Kind of Funny Gamescast,
Part
episode
two.
49
49 2.
dash. So it'll be 49 dash Roman numeral 2.
Nice.
Deuce-K, another episode.
City of Dukakam.
Prologus. Ducia Dukakam. I love it. God damn.
I love this show.
I do too. All right. If you guys don't know, we talk about video games every week. It's a good old time for everybody involved. If you like this show, I would really appreciate it if you went over to iTunes or the podcast service of your choice, left a little review, said some nice things. There's like 5-star system. If you could throw 5 stars at us, I'd appreciate that.
You guys are big
I'll
in
settle
Canada.
for 4.
I hear. Very big
We
in
are.
Canada.
We're the best in
Biggest
Canada.
in Canada.
Best and brightest in Canada.
It is.
Somebody screenshot that because I can't see it.
Oh, I got an email.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, when I go to iTunes, I'm in America.
Got
So when I go to the best of 2015, I don't see us.
Oh,
But
really?
if you go to Canada, you'd see us. I assume that's how it works.
Maybe. I
Huge
don't know.
thanks to Canada for holding it
Yeah.
down.
Big ups, Canada.
When there's
What
only
up?
4 people there and 3 of them vote for us. It's
And they're
great.
so cold. They're just so
Help us.
goddamn cold.
They're just so cold.
It's so
All right.
cold here.
The first topic of the day is Super Smash Brothers. My favorite topic to talk about.
But you have
on this
new
show.
stuff to talk about finally.
There is new stuff to talk about. Final stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
The final Smash Nintendo Direct.
I get it. I get what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah. I wanted to add a space there.
So here's what I want. I'm going to start right off the top.
Go for it.
Tim,
Mhm.
well, how does that make you feel to say that? It's the final thing. They're very clear. This is it. This is all. This is it. This is the end of Smash Brothers on the Wii U.
It's sad, because I didn't want to see an end. I thought the end would have been a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that we got this much, I'm very, very happy for that. I'm very thankful for that. I wish that it kept going. Like, I love that at E3 last year, they just randomly dropped Roy and Ryu.
Yeah.
And it's like, what would they have done next year? Like, could they just have trickled this out forever? Now, I have hopes that they're going to port this game over to the NX.
X gonna give it to you.
And I believe in that. I do think that
I'm sorry. Is this correct? Is this how you do it?
You never
It is.
watched the product.
it is.
How you do it?
Uh-huh.
Am I doing it right? Is this
Well,
X-wing?
X, give it to
This
you.
is the X-wing.
Uh-huh.
That's the NX.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now give
What's this?
me the rock. Oh, that's the Raven. That's Raven.
That's the Raven.
That's DX.
Okay, what's this? Just me giving
Macarena.
Yeah, that's
part of the
that's,
Macarena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Called the Temple Grandin.
A modification of eagle pose in yoga.
You can't just name out poses.
Wait, what's eagle pose? Show me eagle pose.
I can't do it. It's when you do that
That doesn't look like an eagle at all.
and you wrap your it's weird.
You wrap your.
You have your
It's
feet
weird.
around in the opposite direction like this. You're
Oh.
basically like wrapped out.
You
but I
make
can't
your
do it
wee
'cause
wee look like a pig's tail.
My fucking arms are too big.
You got the big arms. You can't do no eagle pose.
How dry do my hands sound right now?
They sound really trying to hate it.
Jesus Christ.
Good lord. Anyways, I do think they're gonna bring it to NX because they invested too much
Do
in
you
Smash
thi-
Bros.
do you think-
as a platform.
So that's my thing for it, right? Is like, we'll get to what happened here, but in them saying this is the final and they're capping it off, I think there's still life in it in the way that at E3 this year, what would they have said about Smash? Well, I think they're going to say what they're going to say, where it's like NX is coming, it's going to be out this fall. Smash Brothers is a launch title, it's a port, it has all the DLC, and they'll introduce a new character that'll be Mr. NX.
I mean, I hope that happens. I'm a little bit worried that him saying this is it on this game is like this is it. Maybe we do get the Game of the Year definitive edition. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
the
The
NX
NX
edition.
edition.
Yeah. When the NX comes, and it is just all the DLC and all the stuff in one package, which is, at this point is a pretty hefty package. Yeah, it's like if you buy everything, like you have to spend like $100 on this game, and like I did, it's totally fucking worth it.
Of course,
but
yeah.
like with each character being like $5 to $6, and you get them also on the 3DS and all that. It's like there's a lot going on in terms of the Mii costumes or the stages. Like at the end of this direct, they had this whole stat sheet of like we're now at 58 characters and like,
yeah, but like 80 of them are Fire Emblem characters.
yeah,
So
there's no problem with that.
that's fine.
And like
There isn't there?
100 stages or whatever, and this many items and this many things, and it's like the numbers are like ridiculous. And he even says he's like, this like is a record for action games and for whatever. Like this is insane.
Yeah.
And like that excites me, and I'd love to see a definitive edition type thing. But yeah, I just think that they put a little too much work into this game to just let it die in this modern era of video games where there's patches and things never go away in the digital era.
In
you
the
know?
digital era.
So,
The
your
digital
theory is they
future.
just up-res it and maybe release it like
Yeah, and I mean I don't even
Q1
know how
of
much they'd
2017
upres it.
for-
Like I don't think it's gonna be an upres situation. Like it's already
just direct port over
yeah.
the NX. I don't
Yeah.
see why they wouldn't do that. But have they ever done that before though? Because they didn't release.
I mean, the big
Brawl or
thing is, what if
Melee,
it's
right?
just backwards compatible?
Well, that's the
Oh,
other
that's
thing.
true.
That's
Now-
the easiest way around.
It's back, but I do think there will be like a
NX edition.
NX edition, whatever. And also, it's the bigger question is the GameCube controllers. How they're going to attach that? But I think they solved that by making this adapter be USB. So as long as the NX has USB, we're fine.
Wish it will. Guaranteed. Lock of the week. NXX going to give you USB ports.
Good.
USB.
Thank you.
USB 2.0.
But that doesn't matter.
Just letting you know.
We don't need no.
I'm just letting you know.
Hey, you got the facts.
I'm
I
building
appreciate
Why
Appreciate
wouldn't
that.
it be 3.0? Did they even
'Cause
make
it's
USB
Nintendo.
2.0 anymore?
Does
Nintendo's not going to be
let's-
cutting edge.
PS4 doesn't have it either.
And it was in USB 3.0 was a glint in the eye of Mr. USB when the PS4 was made. All right,
Not true.
Not true.
you don't know.
Not true.
Not true.
Very true.
No, no.
When it
You,
was-
I believe.
okay,
He doesn't
okay.
know what he's
When it
talking
was
about.
maybe when it was conceived. I'll give you that though, because they started designing those platforms.
Yeah, I'm not talking about when it
4
rolled-
years before
yeah,
they
when
come
it
out.
rolled
Yeah,
off
I can
the-
get that.
the
Plus, it was
Foxconn
probably-
assembly line.
Yeah, that's true. But by now though, it's like it would probably be more expensive to include a 2.0 than a 3.0. Like we got to go back and find a bunch of 2.0.
I'm just saying that's another prediction for you right there.
No,
USBs,
I roll.
yes. USB 2.0s, yes.
What about like FireWire? Maybe it's just a FireWire.
Yeah,
port.
maybe it is a FireWire. Yeah.
One of those
This isn't
thick-ass
a
square ones.
PSP.
It
They're
runs-
not trying to
it
get
runs
too
mini
fucking
discs.
crazy. Yeah. Good lord. But yeah, so I do have some hopes for all of that.
All right, sorry to get you so off track. Back to
Yeah,
what
no,
happened.
I mean, that's not off track. I
Okay.
mean, he ended the whole thing with like a thank you to
And
the
it was
fans.
sad. It was
for
bittersweet.
whatever. And it's like I was on Gamescast. I don't know where it was. At some point, I predicted like what was going to happen, and I was like, I think that we're going to hear from him on like what his status is. And you guys were kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like that's what I was talking about.
Gotcha.
Was that? And he's Sakurai. We're talking about the director of Super Smash Bros. He's put so much into this franchise over the years, and he cares so damn much.
Well, how long has he been on this franchise?
Forever.
Did
I mean,
yeah.
it's his.
That's ridiculous.
the whole thing.
That's crazy.
And he's made a couple games like here and there, Kirby's Air Ride and Kid Icarus, the Uprising
Mhm.
on the 3DS. But I mean, Smash Bros is just kind of like it's his baby.
Yeah.
And every character, like, he's had involvement in, and he wanted to make sure that everything was right and that it stayed true to the series and the character, and like he wanted to make sure that the alternate costumes were the right colors and the right shades, and like that people's hair moved the right way. All the dumb little things that make Super Smash Bros. What it is and why it's so special. And even when there's characters like Cloud or Ryu or whatever, it's like he made sure that they added that their moves all made sense, and they weren't just like, well, he has a sword, so he can swing it this way. It's like, oh no, it needs to be this specific move from this specific game and all that stuff. And that's why we saw so many Fire Emblem characters, is because he is such a big Fire Emblem fan and Fire Emblem supporter, and he's boys with the Fire Emblem dudes. And this, as far as I'm concerned, Sakurai made Fire Emblem in the West. Like, if it wasn't for
groundwork was laid, right?
Marth and Roy being in Melee, like, I wouldn't know who they are, and so many people wouldn't know.
I had no idea until yesterday that Marth and Roy were from Fire Emblem. No idea.
So
you were literally like, that's where they're from. I'm like, huh, cool. Largely because I don't play with them because they're punks.
They're not.
They're punks.
I hate you so goddamn much.
Punks.
If it ain't pit, it ain't powerful, says Nick Scarpino.
That's true. I get that. But so when Fire Emblem did eventually come out on the GBA and on, I don't even know when this was. It must have been 2002 or 3. Like, people cared because of Smash. They wouldn't have cared otherwise. And I'm talking about generally. Like,
Sure.
There's some people that
There's
would.
the hardcore.
Yeah. But then over time, like, I think it just became more and more of a thing. And now Fire Emblem is a small thing in America. And I think Smash Bros. Has a lot to thank for that. So this is an awesome send-off, I think. And him ending this direct with another Fire Emblem character might seem like a slap in the face to a lot of people. But it's like, this character didn't take the place of another character. It's just in addition to, as far as I'm...
Ice climbers.
No, but
Colin's not here. Someone's got to say it.
No. I get it.
Snake.
But like, those
Goku
characters didn't make it. It's not that like they would have made it if Corrin, the new Fire Emblem character, wasn't there.
Sure.
So that was the first announcement, was that there's another Fire Emblem character called Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates that's not out in America yet. It's been out in Japan for a bit. And I'm excited. It's another sword character, but it looks like it plays a little bit differently.
Yeah. Is it a he or she?
It's a he and a she. So it's
You see my confusion with these things, Greg?
Yeah,
it's so hard.
I understand. I understand.
It's like an avatar character, so you get to choose and you decide if it's a boy or girl in the beginning of the game. It's like Robin in Smash.
She looks, I'm just going to use the pronoun she. It looks that like a very interesting character. I actually would like to play as her, just because I liked the idea, or I like how they're handling the sword in this one, where like the tip, if you land it just right, it's way more powerful, and then if it's like as it goes down. I'm trying to sound as phallic as humanly possible here, but it's just coming out because it's me. So it looks cool. I haven't. Have you played with it yet?
No one.
It's not out yet.
It's so we're looking at February.
Oh, that's right. Cloud just came out, right?
Cloud came out a couple nights ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's one.
So, but yeah, she's cool. Or he,
on him.
either way, has like these dragon properties, so that like every move, a different part of its body turns into a dragon. And like that's obviously based on whatever the character is in Fire Emblem Fates. My contact is destroying me right now. So if I keep playing with my,
you want to take a break and fix it?
No.
You're gonna power through it like Sugar Ray Leonard. I love it.
You want Kevin to just spit in your eye?
That's the last thing.
Please come spit in his eye.
So I'm excited by this, but it's not something that I'm like, fuck yeah about. It's just like, all right, cool. I'm happy there's more characters. More characters is
Do you
good.
like, I mean, are they diverse enough in terms of the moveset?
Yes,
right
and
yeah,
that's my
the big
thing.
thing.
This
right?
is a totally unique moveset. It's unlike anyone else. And I can look at it and be like, oh, this move's kind of like this move from this person. This one's kind of like that. But this isn't just another Marth clone.
Sure.
Which is the worry with the Fire Emblem characters.
Sure.
Because at this point we have Marth, Lucina, and Roy, who all play pretty similarly. Roy's a little heavier, but it's ridiculous how close Lucina and Marth are. So then the next thing was they really kind of went deeper into Cloud, and they talked about him for a long time and really talked about his moves and all that stuff and how to use him. And then they were like, it's available later today. And it's like, Nintendo? The fuck? Like, that's such a ball drop to me, where it's like, have it available right now. Why are you doing, like, why say in a couple hours? And like,
that's how long it gets the servers to go, bruh.
But I know, but
it would have leaked. It would have ruined it beforehand. All these kids on Twitter would have found it beforehand.
Who cares? Like
the announcement.
I don't know. I'm talking about like just they announced Cloud already. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's not like it was.
It's not like this is the news.
Here's a new thing. You can get it now. It's like you've known about this thing You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
2 weeks or 3 weeks.
so
right?
I thought that was a weird, like, business wise. Like, I'm like, that's a dropped ball. Like, you could have had so many people right then buying it.
Yeah,
Instead,
it's not like they called it audible either, right? That's pre-recorded, so they planned for it to say,
well, I
like,
mean,
give it a few
even
hours.
earlier in the thing, he's like, it's coming soon, and then he's like,
That was
in
the
a
tease.
couple hours. It's like, well,
You
it's
got
less
it.
of an impact than
You
soon
got it.
now.
You're at work anyway. What do
Yeah,
you care?
But so my thing with that though is that they're even like, yeah, like the servers are gonna be slammed. So if you have any issues, like whatever. So it's like maybe like they were like at least trying to just, they knew that a lot of people were gonna be downloading
Yeah.
cloud, so they were trying to like get less people to buy it, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, I then downloaded cloud that night.
Sure, I want to know this.
and,
Yeah.
I've been playing with him.
Really?
Love cloud. Yeah. Seems a little overpowered right now.
Okay.
I have a feeling you're going to patch it a bit to kind of tone it down. Like his right B is pretty dominating in terms of just like it puts it's cross slash for Final Fantasy 7 fans. It puts out the beginning of cross slash, and there's just like orange mark that comes out, and the distance is pretty far, and it creates spacing with you and the other characters, and they just can't get near you, or else they get hit.
Gotcha.
And it's like if it either kept them away or hit them, but not both.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
would be okay, but it's kind of a little bit unfair. But again, this is based on 10 rounds playing as him against someone that's significantly better than me. So
Current's better than you?
Oh, Current's way better than
Current
me.
is
He's good.
on a different
He's
level.
damn good.
But he's a civilian.
He is a civilian.
He is. You wouldn't know it though.
Anyways, so Cloud's really
It's
cool.
annoying,
I like Cloud, and you know they did a good job with him, man. Like it's Final Fantasy through and through. His taunts are right. His moves look right. His alternate costumes, whether it's Advent Children or normal Cloud, I'm really like happy with how they handled his character. His victory music is the Final Fantasy victory theme. Like it's all these dumb little things. I'm like, this is Smash Bros.
That's what you wanted. Yeah.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
So Cloud, awesome. Then we get all the extra little announcements.
Tails!
Things,
Costumes.
the Mii costumes and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So we got Tails, we got Knuckles, and you know, we've seen before we got the like Tekken characters. So there's no Tekken representation in Smash Bros. Like character-wise.
Proper.
But,
Yeah.
but there is in these like Mii costumes and stuff. And they've been pushing all that since the game came out, where there's hats and all that stuff. I don't really care. Like the Mii characters aren't people that I use. But it's cool, and it's cool that at least they're thinking. At least they're like, all right, we're not going to put Tails and Knuckles in this game, but let's kind of do it.
Sure.
And then they announced Geno from Super Mario RPG that you can kind of wear his hat. And that's a really big deal because Geno is one of those characters that, you know, I've been following Smash Bros. For a long time.
Sure.
And back when Brawl was coming out, I was on all the forums, and there's so many threads of like, hey, who do you want to see? And Geno was always
Really?
one. Yes, like Geno. Because he has a moveset that would be unique and pretty cool. And
Yeah.
also he's like a cult classic character. And he's Nintendo, like it's Square. This is before Cloud was a possibility. in
Sure,
Smash
sure,
Bros.
sure,
So it's
sure,
like,
sure.
you know, it represents the Square RPG, but it's still Nintendo.
Gotcha.
But then there was always like a rights issue of like, does Square own him? Does Nintendo own him? And it's cool to see at least
Something.
This is an obvious nod to those people. Like Sakurai pays attention. He knows what's up, and he knows that they wanted Geno. So he did that, and that's cool. There's a whole bunch more stuff like that. And then they had the final character reveal. And they had a buildup of just like, hey, this is it. Like this, we've announced all these different characters. We have one more to show you. A couple months ago, they did the Smash ballot where people could vote.
Which sounded like a terrible idea. Just vote for whoever you want or whatever. And
I mean, it was vote for,
Was it like a fill in the name thing?
yeah.
and they're like, this won't go wrong. This won't
Yeah.
get people totally psyched about one thing and then not give it to them.
So it was like vote for whatever you want, and like there was like a couple asterisks and stuff in interviews, most of them Japanese. So there's a lot of translation things that like, you know,
Sure.
it gets a little
Lost
messy
in
in a lot of places.
translation,
But some of there's not really rules, but like try to make them like they should be from a video game, at least
It's just
at
like
all.
President Obama.
But then said it doesn't need to be a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Like they did say like a couple things that were like that gave hope to stuff.
I feel like they gave too much, though. That was
No.
the whole thing. I'm sorry, because I'm jumping to the end. Keep going.
Yeah, so people were doing all this stuff. Now, what's my first reaction when I saw this ballot thing? It's like, all right, whatever. Nintendo's rigging this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way like that they're gonna put this much power. And also, it's like, it's not like they can just get whoever the fuck they want.
Exactly. It's
you
not
know?
like it's that easy where everyone puts Crash Bandicoot and they go to Activision. Activision's like, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, put them in. So I knew that going in, but I've been paying pretty close attention to what people were talking about for the ballots and stuff, and seeing like online polls of all this stuff. And when they announced Cloud, everyone's first reaction is, "Oh my God, they did it!"
Yeah,
like Nintendo fucking didn't fuck around. Cloud won, and they gave it to us, and that was very impressive. Then they made it really clear.
They immediately were like,
no, Cloud's
no.
not the ballot person. That's still coming. We just got Cloud, and Cloud was really hard to get." Like, that's what they said.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. So then they announced the winner, and it's Bayonetta. And
who had a good reveal.
Yeah.
I thought. And granted, you know, you're the Smash guy.
Yeah,
I play Smash with you and enjoy it or whatever. But I thought I liked the whole trailer they did. Whereas when Pit came out, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then you hear the voice of like, I thought another angel. I was like, oh shit, Bayonetta.
Yeah, see, the problem that I have with the DLC characters is back when Smash, before the game came out, like whenever a new character for the first time was coming, to be a proper CG trailer, like it was like edited to do all that stuff. Sure. And now for the DLC characters, they kind of just do this like in-game like weird voiceover thing. Mm-hmm. So it was cool, but I mean,
for you, it didn't hit what you want.
It could have been a lot cooler.
For Portillo and I, we were enjoying it.
Yeah, and I want to say I'm happy with Bayonetta. She looks like a unique character, and she's definitely going to be fun, and like I'm happy she's in it. My only thing is, it's like, why end on Bayonetta? Like, that is so like, oh, she won the ballot.
That goes back to the pacing issue that you have with these, right? Which is, it's the same issue that you have with it's going to be available in a few hours. It's there's just whoever's programming these, that I have to imagine they're not very easy to do, right? Because you've got a lot of pressure on you. But whoever's programming them does not have a Western, like a diehard Western sensibility. They really just don't, right? There's really a different sense of pomp and circumstance than there is with what we expect here. And you can contrast those with whatever you see at E3 press conferences, where they clearly, like, whatever the biggest thing you know is going to come last, if it's Sony or if it's Microsoft, especially Microsoft.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's pretty fascinating, because you were mentioning as well, you were like, Cloud is a much bigger story. And so, granted, they put that on the actual Nintendo Direct proper, which I guess in terms of, you know, which one's bigger? I guess the Directs are bigger than the actual Smash Bros. Directs.
It doesn't matter.
I would have inversed it, right? To your point.
Yeah.
Like, I would have done at the Direct, your fan ballot choice is Bayonetta. And everybody like, oh, cool, I didn't expect that. And then we have one more Direct coming and one more character, one more character. And then ended with Cloud, yeah.
I mean, for me, I would have just put all of them in this. Like, it's a Smash Direct. Like, have started off with the Fire Emblem character, then, hey, here's your ballot winner, and then, hey, here's
the one you've wanted.
Cloud. And like, that would have been an amazing Direct. Now, here's the thing. Who cares? We're talking at this point about conferences. All these characters are in the game.
Sure.
Right.
So whatever. I'm just talking about in terms of the hype, because the hype specifically about Smash Bros. Is so important to me. Now, having said that, Cloud coming out of nowhere in the Direct, like when like the Smash thing just happens and you're like, oh shit, that's amazing. You know, and that was a moment that I'll always have. Yeah. But it would have made this so much more special to have that Cloud reveal at the end. And it's like, this is the end. The final character is Cloud. Like,
I agree 100%. Yeah.
But again, it's like, I get why they did this, because they knew that Cloud was going to take all the
thunder.
The thunder.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what.
No, but that's not true, because if they had announced Bayonetta on 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when that Direct happened, that would have been pretty special. That would have been cool, and it would have been a nice, like, hey, we had this awesome campaign where you guys voted, and this was the best we could do with the characters.
Well, that's the thing. Now I want to get back to the ballots we're talking about, is that people's expectations were getting on, and everybody's talking Goku, right? That was the big thing.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, there was a it's not that people were disappointed with Bayonetta. Like,
a lot of people were really stoked about it. I saw a lot of people say I voted for her.
So in terms of the people that I saw thrown around the most, Bayonetta actually, I mean, they gave the stats, and like, if you believe them, they said that Bayonetta was 5th in the UK. Oh no, 5th in America, 1st in UK, and 1st worldwide overall of characters that they could actually
get or whatever.
And so it's like those, like the fact that they admitted it was 5th in the US. I'm like, all right, maybe that's real. Like, maybe that is, because a lot of people were saying Bayonetta because they were voting for someone that they believed could actually make it that they wanted. So people did want Bayonetta, and Bayonetta at this point does have a lineage with the Wii U. So, because the Bayonetta 2 was exclusive on Wii U.
Exactly. She has good faith with them. She has good cachet with them.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not hating on Bayonetta at all. It's just people were getting a little crazy with the Gokus and and Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, those aren't going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not.
I would never say
Goku,
never.
Goku specifically.
Goku is a little harder to get in my brain. I mean, I guess I don't really know too much about it, but Goku seems a lot harder to get than Crash Bandicoot.
I'd imagine Goku's an easier get,
You think
but it
so?
just doesn't make sense because he's not from a game.
He's been in games.
He's
Yeah,
had games,
I
but
know.
he's from an anime.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. But like getting Goku, I don't think would have been an issue at all.
You don't think
Like,
so?
yeah, they just fucking whore that shit out. Like, you
That's
know what
true.
I mean? Like that's just
They're smart about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to put us in this incredibly popular game with like the Venn diagrams right on top of our kind of people.
I don't think that would have been too big of an issue. But people were voting for a lot of dumb stuff, but that splits the vote. So the dedicated people that are voting for Bayonetta because she actually has a chance, like that makes sense. And it's like, all right, like Bayonetta's definitely was in the top 10 of names that constantly came up. King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country came up a lot, but like I don't think would have had enough of a thing.
Sure.
Ridley from Metroid comes up a lot, and that's another character like Geno that's been asked for decades at this point for Super Smash Brothers. So yeah, Bayonetta winning isn't surprising. It's just when this whole direct ended, I tweeted out, I was like, I feel like a spoiled brat for being disappointed with this.
Sure.
And that's the total thing is I'm so thankful for all of this. I'm so happy that we have 3 more characters. Like I remember back even 3 years ago when we were talking about Super Smash Brothers and there was an interview that came out. They're like, yeah, we're going to have to cut a lot of characters because we're going to focus in the roster might be around 18. And I was like, holy shit. Like that sucks, man.
Yeah.
And then we're at 58. We're at like way more. Like Brawl had 35, 39 if you count the like Ivysaur, Squirtle, whatever shit.
Well, that was the thing is like on Reddit last night or this morning, depending on when I looked at it, they had there was a screenshot up on our gaming that was like, can we for a second take a moment to look at this screenshot and think about the fact that 5 years ago, no one would have ever thought this was possible. We would have thought this was made up. And it was the Smash Brothers select screen with all these characters on it. Yeah.
I mean, I when I was playing with Cloud, I set up an 8-player match and I posted a picture of Mario, Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man, Ryu, Cloud, Pikachu, and Link. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, all these characters are perfectly represented in this fighting game. That's insane, you know?
Yeah. And this is again, like, I mean, like, I feel like some of the reactions you're having mirror what we saw at PSX, right? With people being let down by what was a solid showing, but not like gangbusters. Here's this giant announcement and everything's amazing. And I think it just, for me as a casual observer who's like, okay, cool, more characters, great, Smash is still going. I think what I'm seeing from your side of the fence is as like super fan guy is the fact that it didn't feel like the final thing. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted to leave, you want to leave with one giant thing and a bow kind of thing. Whereas this felt like it was more like, here's some cool shit. It felt like every other Smash Direct I've seen.
Yep.
I have to think it's hard though, right? You have to think, especially when you're dealing with rights clearance issues, that maybe you never know what's happening behind the scenes. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe their intention a while back was to have Cloud be on this one, and that one went through first, then Bayonetta took a little while longer. You know, you never know.
Yeah,
like this is not exactly like, it's not like our job here where we're like, let's go do something. Okay, and we go do it. There's lots of red tape to cut through when you're dealing with licenses. So
I guess never know. So really though, where my disappointment stems from is not in Bayonetta. It's in the fact that I knew Bayonetta could happen, and I thought Bayonetta would. Bayonetta and Shovel Knight were the two that I was like, all right, like,
Shovel Knight
sure,
cool.
they could definitely happen. It's more from Cloud was announced, and despite how much I would have rathered him been the final thing just because of what that would represent, they announced him, which to me represented anything is possible.
Yes.
So that was like, all right. They announced Cloud, and then they announced there's a direct that's gonna talk about the ballot winner. What's that say? And to me that says Crash is possible. Like and
I know.
Represent like Crash
literally
or,
anything crazy could
like,
happen.
Anything crazy.
Peter
could
Venkman from
happen.
Ghostbusters the video game.
Yes. And then it didn't. And that's kind of
well, it's like the wind out of its sails, right? Like that's the problem. Is it like it's like if your birthday is 10 days before Christmas and someone gets you a really awesome birthday present, and like, what the fuck am I gonna get for Christmas now?
Yeah.
Kind of puts a damper on Christmas.
Yeah.
I can't possibly get that Maserati for Christmas because I got it for my birthday.
Oh,
thanks, Greg.
No problem. I'm buying a Miata.
Not the same car. Not the same car.
I'm getting you a Miata.
I don't want a Miata.
And again, at the end of the day, we get all of it in one game, so it really doesn't matter how it was all announced and stuff. But The other thing, though,
What do you think this means when I point at the window? Open the window, potato.
He's playing his PS Vita. Let him do
No, I took a photo of him and I'm gonna tweet it because I've never been more proud of him. He's over there in his Superman shirt playing the Vita. I love this kid.
He looks like Bizarro you.
I'm ordering 3 Bizarro shirts, just so you know.
That'll be a good photo to take together.
But yeah, and this is where the super fan comes in and like kind of like ruins everything. But it's like, to me, the saddest thing was what was disappointing, what was not in this direct, and what was not in this direct is Ice Climbers and Snake and Wolf.
Snake, you knew wasn't gonna happen now.
No, but I mean, Snake at this point, like before, I would have credited Kojima with getting Snake in Smash.
Sure,
but now it's like, yeah, it's Konami and fuck Konami and all that shit. But like, I mean, he was already in the last game, and it's just like a lot. If they announced Snake, that would have been a bigger reveal in this.
Oh, sure, yeah, 100%. But
And-
it's impossible. Konami just is done. Konami is done.
Just
All
done?
these people who say fuck us, we're gonna give them our no, fuck off, get out of here.
All right,
Pachinko,
I mean-
you want one of our characters? Put a pachinko machine in. Just it's there. It's the new punching bag.
I'm coming from the other side of that. Of just like, all right, hey, this is an easy win of good faith. Of just like, I can just license you this shit, and like you guys do everything else. Cool.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Then you have a big argument of whose voice do you put in it.
what I'm saying is that all of those characters, this is just confirmation that they're not coming back. And there was always hope. There was always hope that like they're gonna make their reappearance. My boy Squirtle, R.I.P. Like, I'm never getting you again.
Never.
And these are things where I did think, like, I would have never thought back when they were talking about 18 characters. But once we started getting to upper 50s, I'm like, are they gonna end this as this having every Smash Bros character
Yeah.
except for maybe Pichu and Young Link? Like, that's crazy. That like they're gonna do it. They're fucking doing it. They brought back Roy and Mewtwo. Like, I was like, this is insane. I never thought they would do that. But yeah, now Ice Climbers, it's like they're gone. That's crazy that they're actually gone. I didn't believe it. I thought they'd come back. And they didn't announce Wolf. There's a Star Fox game coming out. What? That's just too easy of a inclusion. So I don't know. That like it was those things that it just made me realize, damn, this is over. Like, we're not getting another direct.
It's not over.
Well,
You just have
this
to
game
wait.
is
over.
Yeah, you just have to wait like
10
8 more years.
Yeah. Which, man, I am so excited to get right back into the hype cycle for it. Like, it's so fucking
I mean,
awesome.
that's the thing that it's the double-edged sword about this game, right? Is that, you know, I'm not nearly as huge of a fan of it as you, but I do enjoy playing the game, and I enjoy playing the game for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is that it is as good as it can possibly get.
Mhm.
It is the Apple of fighting games. You know what I mean? Where like they scrutinize every aspect of it and they make sure everything is as perfect as it possibly can get, which really, really lends itself well to a fun gameplay.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with some of the other games. What was the PlayStation game?
PlayStation All Stars
Yeah.
Battle Royale.
All Stars, which, you know, you play and it was fun, but it just doesn't have the same feeling or the same polish on it,
Yeah.
right? So I'm willing to wait that 8 years. And, you know, we waited like 94 years for Star Wars. And we're going to see that tonight.
So that's exciting.
So it is exciting, you know. So, but I'm with you on that one. Like, when you start getting hyped, you're like, and it is a little sad when they announced that roster. You were like, okay, the plan clearly is that they're going to give us all the other characters that we had in Brawl, and not getting that. I can see how you're a little let down,
But
even though you never played as Ice Climbers.
no, but and that's
don't
the
really
thing.
give a
is
shit. I never played as Wolf.
But that's the thing. It's not that I'm let down.
Right.
It's just like it's just sad knowing that we're not getting. I'm not let down at all. Like, I am the opposite of let down.
Sure.
I cannot believe, like, when they announced Mewtwo as the first DLC character, I wasn't sure we were getting much after that. We ended up getting like 8 or 7 DLC characters, something like that. That's when all said and done.
Right.
That's fucking insane.
Well,
one of them's Ryu and one of them's Cloud.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Those happened after the game launched. What? Like, that's
But it's
totally
it's,
insane.
but I can see how it could be bittersweet for you, right? Because
Yeah.
you know that no matter what, now we go into the dark period. Now we go
Well,
into
now
the
we just
period
get to play
where
for
we
it.
get
Well,
to
that's
play.
the
we
funny
get to have
thing is
fun.
like to your point of like you feel like you're being spoiled, right? Is the fact that it's done now, right? But it used to be done when the game came out.
Yeah.
The game used to come out and that was fucking it for Smash for 5 years,
It's
6 years.
more than 5 years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's absolutely right. It's like, so now we have this, and Sakurai ending the video with like the thank you to the fans and all that stuff. It's like
Classy move.
very classy, and like I felt that I appreciate him so much. You know, I remember when I met him at E3. The first year I went to E3, before I even worked at IGN, and I saw him and I asked to take a picture with him, and he was Japanese as fuck, and he did not know what I was trying to do.
Oh.
Like, no one had asked him ever to take a picture with him.
Oh,
before.
really?
Yeah.
Did you take it?
Oh yeah, I got the
Okay.
picture. I have a picture with him, and it's fucking awesome.
Did you explain it slowly? Like, I mean, it was Japanese as fuck. You said so. Like, you're trying.
Yeah.
Hey, can I take a photo? And he's just like,
Yep, that's exactly
Okay.
what happened.
and then you're like, picture.
yeah, and I was
Gotcha.
like, I started doing stuff, and he was just like he looked confused. I'm like, really? Like,
You're like,
do you know?
como se dice selfie in Japanese?
Como se dice?
Como se dice
Spanish is the universal language.
selfie? Swelfie?
Swelfie. Sakharov.
Okay, stop.
Selfie? Ano.
Selfies weren't huge back then yet.
No, they
So
weren't.
you couldn't.
No,
they didn't have
no,
a name. You
definitely
didn't have
not.
anything. He probably
All
had a digital camera with him.
I love you, Smash Bros. I love you very dearly.
R.I.P.
Rest in
R.I.P.
peace,
Smash Bros.
No, R.I.P.
Squirtle,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Squirtle
R.I.P. Snake.
and Pichu, my boy.
ice climbers.
Nice climbers. Pouring out for your boy Colin M. All right. Second topic of the day: Kojima Productions.
No, you gotta slow. What is it? What is this?
That's a dance. That's the dance.
Is this a thing you guys do?
That's what
No,
Kojima
that's
did on
just-
his way out of Konami.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that bomb was dropped.
Kojima Productions back.
Yeah.
New name. Rest in peace, Kojima Productions. Long live Kojima, Productions.
Yeah. So Greg, what happened? Give us the rundown.
So many years ago in Japan, a man named Hideo Kojima was born.
Little boy.
And a whole bunch of stuff happened in his
cherubic
life,
boy.
I'm sure, until he started making video games. I'm unfamiliar with the entire biography. So it's finally over. We've been waiting for the other shoe to drop forever, Tim, because you know as well as I do that there was a lot of drama leading into Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain with Hideo Kojima and one Konami, the developer. They try to remove his name from posters, the boxes, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of public bickering that wasn't public. You know what I mean? It's been one of those things where we've all been left. We're all on the outside here. And on the other side of this wall, there's been a war brewing over there between Kojima and Konami, and we haven't really known what exactly is happening. A lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, articles about this is a photo from his goodbye party. Konami saying, no, he's just going on vacation. He's just going on a long vacation. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? Then there was the Video Game
Have
Awards.
fun on your 40-year vacation.
There was the Video Game Awards a couple weeks ago, where Keighley said that was it's one of those where this whole situation is complicated in the fact that all we've had to go on is rumors and how it's awkward that they're trying to remove his name from the game and that he's not making appearances for the game. He wasn't at the review event or anything like that. You don't see him at that, right? And then what's going on? Is it as bad as it seems? Is it not? Is this all Kojima very much into the fifth dimension of gaming where he wants to make it 4D or whatever when he was trying to get it involved and doing like Phantom Pain stuff.
Kojima
with
makes
face
everything
wraps.
like it's a WWE event.
And
where
that was
it's
the whole
like,
thing.
Is this real life or is he playing this
are
character?
we being worked? Is this a work?
Yeah.
Is the game going to come out and this is somehow tied into it or whatever? We don't know. Nothing's really happening. Then you get the game and his name's all over it inside the game. And you're like, well, what the hell is happening? And then finally he's leaving. Game Awards come around, and this is what I'm trying to say is that up until this point, it's all been rumor and speculation, honestly. And then, Jeff Keighley gets to come on the Game Awards and say, Hideo was going to be here, and Konami's lawyer said he could not be here today. And then everybody boos. And that was really like the moment of like, the fuck Konami stuff is as real as you think it is. It is, you know what I mean? Like this beef is as real as you think it is. About maybe is the game over budget? Is this the F4 time? Is he getting too big for his britches? Nobody knows what happened. We haven't put that together yet of why they clashed so badly. But we now know officially from the other side of the wall that yes, it really is happening. It really is that bad. And so Game Awards happen. It's awkward. It's people think that he was supposed to be there, but he couldn't be there. There was rumors that maybe he was there, and all these different things. Then you get down to this week we're finally out of the blue in quotes because it leaked earlier in the day that it looked like it was real. Kojima's gone, his contract's up, and there was this rumor all of a sudden that he was going to be a Sony first party, which was then corrected. It was this Nikkei article that had all this information that was being translated, and of course that's when we start translating on GAF or whatever, and GameSpot and all these other sites start putting it up that it gets convoluted. But originally it was that, he's going to be a Sony first party. And then it was, no, he's just partnering with Sony for something. And nobody's 100% sure. And then that night, they put out a video in Japanese, and it's a baller-ass PlayStation video Andrew House speaking Japanese, and then they do like the slow not even slow, I think it was just a wide shot of Kojima next to him, and announcing the fact that Kojima Productions is real. They are an independent studio. They are working with PlayStation on a new franchise that is console exclusive to PlayStation 4. It'll be on PC, which was in a blog post, again translated in another language, I believe, that has since been removed, but now the cat's out of the bag. And when they say console exclusive, that's clearly what it means.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is they said franchise. So to me, it's already speaking to the level of like a Bloodborne deal, right? Where if you're unfamiliar with how all of this works, well, I guess that's a bad example, actually. Colin would yell at me right away because Bloodborne is exclusive to PlayStation 4, period, whereas this is a console exclusive and not. So it's similar. Well, see, this is where it's arguing. I was trying to explain last night, is it third party or second party?
Yeah.
I don't know if Sony's or PlayStation's publishing it. So it's one of those where think like Bloodborne, but then it could go to a PC, or think like Helldivers, with the exception that, because Helldivers is exclusive to PlayStation platforms, but now being published on PC, but being published by Sony. So it's really confusing. But this is the whole thing. When new things are announced, who the fuck knows how it'll actually net out in the end? Yeah. Right now, what we know, Kojima Productions is real. It's independent. It's working with PlayStation on a console exclusive game that will be on PC eventually.
And that's been the same name as his company forever, right? It's always been Kojima Productions.
I mean,
or was it Kojima Studios earlier? Or
it was
before?
Kojima Productions before, and
Right.
it's one of those. When did they start calling themselves that? I'm not 100% sure. So there is, they said it's a new studio. It has the same name,
Different logo.
a different logo, which is you pointed
important.
out last night. Or where'd you get? Did you find that?
No, I found this. I did not make that. Which is, I posted the image and I was like, shit, I don't know who to credit for this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it
It's one of
wasn't
those like
until afterwards.
Reddit-y things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Somebody made an image where it was the Fox image.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah, I was saying when Big Boss was working with the government ever, it's the Fox logo, and then when he went off on his own, it's the Military Without Borders logo from Peace Walker.
Yeah.
And then it was Kojima Productions logo, which was the Fox again when he's with Konami, and then when he's on his own, it's the skull that's inside of the armor head that looks like an astronaut helmet or whatever, and it looks a lot like the skull from Peace Walker. There you go. Now you're seeing it. I'm
Visual
sure
aids a little bit better.
Kevin's already putting up the thing, so I've just wasted my breath.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
Like yesterday when we didn't get too much, we just knew, I mean, that's a lie.
But
We
it
got
looks like
a
a
lot.
Spartan helmet.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
That's so cool
what's
looking.
cool is that we know that they're making a PlayStation exclusive game, and that's,
Console exclusive.
That's huge news.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
let's be clear here.
That's huge.
Giving you the
huge,
news.
Huge news. Then we also got, all right, they're keeping the name, and we got a logo, and I think that the logo is very important because it's different than it was,
yeah.
and it's Kojima. So yesterday we were walking, I was like, what are we
Read
missing in
into
the logo?
this.
There
What
has
are
to
we?
be
Yeah,
something.
let's read
And that's
into all
why
this.
later in the night when I saw this, it's like, I mean, those look very similar.
Yeah.
And it's like, does this mean anything? No, not necessarily. But like, that's a little too close.
I think it means something.
to
I mean, I
be-
think
to be a
it's totally
coincidence.
there. I think it is very much. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like, I don't expect. This is a big argument. What's he gonna do? What's the studio gonna make? They talk about they're still wanting to make cool ass huge games, right, or whatever. Is it going to be more Metal Gear? Is it going to be Zone of the Enders? Is it going to be PT? And obviously, I mean that type of game, right?
Yeah.
Like I think this is speaking to the whole thing of like, it's. I mean, you read into it, and even let's say even that is just a coincidence, right? I think the sentiment is still there, right? That Kojima is still Kojima. He's just disenfranchised with where he was and what was happening. Same thing with Boss, right? When Boss, defects and goes off on his own to do his thing. Like that's the story of Big Boss. And now he's gonna go off and he's still being Big Boss. He's still doing the same missions you've always played. It's just not in the name of the United States of America.
So you think that it's just a kind of a good faith homage? Like
I think if
same Kojima, same sensibilities, but kind of updated, basically.
yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing to take away from here is that he's still very much Hideo Kojima, and he's gonna make the games he wants to make. He put up a bunch of nice letters or whatever because on top of the video, he put out tweets at the same time that were saying as of today, December 15th, my contract with Konami's ended, and I'm gonna make games till I die. Pretty much is what he said. And then on their site, he put up a letter or whatever where he was talking about I'm gonna screw it up. It was,
Their site being
the
Kojima
Kojima Productions.
Productions.
Yeah. The did you not see this?
No.
I'll get it and I'll read it to you then because it's like it's Homo sapiens but Homo playins or something. I'm butchering it and making it sound real dumb, but it's basically how we all play games or whatever.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, something interesting is that Colin was right about the fact that Kojima didn't go indie and like do his own thing and like start a Kickstarter for a game.
Sure, that's 100%. Yeah.
He wasn't right fully in terms of like.
Well, it's just
exactly
like one of the
what's
things.
going on.
Colin's thing has moved around a few times, not drastically.
Yeah, I'm
just
saying
that,
like he was the one that was vehemently against the crowdfunding aspect,
Right.
Where and we've had like 5 Kojima Konami updates on Gamescast throughout the year, so that's the one thing that he's been like totally tried and true.
All right, here we go. So this is the letter they have up on their site on top of the tweets or whatever. We are homo ludens, those who play in parentheses. From the moment we enter this world, we instinctively invent ways to have fun and share our inventions with those around us. We are not asked to do this, nor do we need reasons to create. It is simply who we are. We find one another and compete with one another. We laugh together and cry together, all while playing together. Our experiences bind us and liberate us. To share our most valuable experiences, we create stories, invent tools, and evolve the art of play. Play has been our ally since the dawn of civilization. Playing is not simply a pastime. It is a primordial basis of imagination and creation. Truth be told, homo ludens, parentheses those who play, are simultaneously homo faber, those who create. Even if the earth were stripped of life and reduced to a barren wasteland, our imagination and desire to create would survive. Beyond survival, it would provide hope that flowers may one day bloom again. Through the invention of play, our new evolution awaits. Kojima Productions, we are homo ludens. We are those who play. And again, it's one of those two. How much do you want to read into that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all we have are the rumors of what happened on the other side of the wall. And everything you heard was, it was terrible. And Konami was nickel and diming and this, that, and the other. And there's fights and there's this and it's coming down from the top and everybody, you know what I mean? Like, so when you sit there and you talk about even if the earth was stripped of all life, and you know what I mean? Like, that's a dark fucking sentiment when we're talking about video games, right? But it's speaking to the fact of the experience on the other side of the wall and the things in his tweet of like, I'm going to create stuff till I die. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he's saying. If, you know what I mean? Like, I'm making sense here, right?
Yeah, no, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like no matter how bad things are, I'm still doing this shit.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Things were bad, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about this. This is huge, and I think that the fact that we're already moving on something, and the fact that it's a PlayStation exclusive, we already know a couple things. I think it's good. I think that means that like there's motion on stuff, and who knows how far along it is. But I'm happy that at least it's had that initial step. There's not that period of like him needing to kind of interview here and there and like pitch things to people and do all that stuff,
Well, I mean, he's coming off of a hit too, which is nice.
No, I mean, it's also Kojima.
Yeah, it's Kojima.
So,
right? It's like I mean, he isn't. I don't know what the closest analog would be in the film industry, but I have to imagine it would be like a James Cameron or a Steven Spielberg of like, hey, I'm leaving the studio. Who wants me? And it's like, everyone.
Well, I want to talk about that 1 second. Here's his tweet with the one he announced it. My employment contract with Konami has been terminated as of December 15th, so today marks a new start for me. I'm committed to be involved in creative activities for as long as I live. Look forward to what's coming. And then it was all the stuff that popped out. Back to that, like he says that, and the IGN has an exclusive interview up with him, and they talk about it in there, right?
Right, post that. That's right. That came out yesterday.
And it goes up, and it's like, he's like, well, a whole bunch of people approached me or whatever, but like I know Sony, you know what I mean? Like these people I knew, so I wanted to do something with them. Yeah,
and that's so awesome. So going off of that, we've talked about Konami and Kojima so much this year, and once we kind of heard rumors that December is the time, we started thinking and we're like, all right, what does that mean?
Right.
And we're like, what happens in December? Ooh, Game Awards.
Right.
Ooh, Jeff Keighley and Kojima are boys. What does this mean? Something's gonna happen then, And we kind of thought that was gonna happen, and then at the Game Awards something did happen.
Yep.
Wasn't what we expected, but it was the confirmation that there is issues and all that.
All right.
Then day after that, what happened? PSX. What happened to PSX? A conference that was lacking an ending.
Right.
And it's like, this is totally, who knows if this is right or not, but like we've talked about this, and it's like the assumption has to be.
I'm sure if they could have, they would have loved to.
Well, that's what you have to
imagine,
and that's what you have to imagine the lineup was, right? Is that in my head, the way I play it out, right? And this is my prediction was, right, that for Game Awards my prediction was for PSX predictions that Kojima would come out, and of course it doesn't happen in the conference. It's weird, but in my head, what that would have, it all works. It all pieces together when you think about it, because Game Awards would have been Kojima comes out to accept the award for Best Action Adventure Game, right? Which is the one where Kiefer Sutherland accepted for him, and then Jeff gave the speech or whatever. Kojima comes out, accepts it, and is like, at this point, you assume he'd be out of Konami. You know what I mean? I've left Konami, or I'm starting my own path, something like that. Look for news very soon. I'm excited to tell you what comes next, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then, the next day, or next, not I guess next. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then PSX conference. Yeah, it ends, and it is at the very end. Andrew House comes out, and he's like, "I hope you've all had a great time at PSX." But I have one more thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hideo Kojima. He comes out. They show the new logo. They say they're doing like basically that video happens on stage. At PSX,
and exactly,
and the place
and
goes fucking nuts, and we all tear chairs apart.
Yes, and that would be amazing. That would have made that conference fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
That
And then
would've been
they
powerful.
did put out this video, and this video, great and awesome, but also looks like it was thrown together at the last minute. Like the Andrew House and Kojima just sitting there. Like that looks like the type of thing of like, all right, fine, we can't do what we wanted to do. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So it's like I do believe that was the plan, and that there was politics and contracts and shit that didn't allow it to happen. And
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever find that out. Like,
I think you will.
Really?
I mean, like, yeah.
There's
think
a
you will.
story there. There's a great
that's the
story there
whole
that
thing.
needs to be told, and someone will ferret it out. I mean, think about this. Like, if you were writing a book about the video, and you, as a from a game perspective, what better story would you want to latch onto than this?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to write this.
I mean,
up.
I'm talking specifically about the PSX Game Awards.
I think it has to be the whole thing, right? I think it has to be a whole story leading up to him being out of the contract with Konami. I mean, I'm even fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a partnership for all intents. They didn't own Kojima Productions, though, right? He was just contracted with them.
That
does
is one of
anyone
those
know?
things. I'm not. That's super businessy on the Japanese side. I'm not 100% sure.
Because
The fact that he has it, but it's new, makes me think that
I just assumed that because the logo was a Metal Gear logo,
yeah.
that he had to change the logo. But my assumption always was that his was the production company and Konami was just the distributor that was funding the projects, and that the contract was to get through Metal Gear Solid 5.
Sure.
And then that was it. And then maybe they would renegotiate, or maybe they broke the contract. I don't know. But I didn't think that they owned him. I thought that maybe that was just contractually obligated to stay there until a certain period of time.
I think that's
And
in
then
the
he just
end what it
decided
was,
to
because that was
not
where it all
renew
came
it.
out. Is like
Right.
when they started, is he a contractor now, and da. But that's
Right.
still like where it's all smoke and mirrors.
Because
We're
it's
not
telling
100%
that he
sure.
gets to keep the name Hideo Kojima Productions.
But it's one of those. I don't think he does, obviously, because he's
Yeah.
calling it that. But the fact that they're saying it's a new Kojima Productions, they don't have an office space. There are 3 or 4 guys right now, or whatever that they showed during the video. I don't think it's the same. I know it's confusing because it'd be like,
Well, yeah, that's
I
what-
leave kind of funny, and then I start the new game over Greggy's show or something. You know what I mean? Like
in the
I
next
don't
room. In Colin's room.
I'm just like banging on the wall during your shows and shit.
Yeah, but I mean, again, back to your point, Tim. This is a fascinating story, and someone's got to tell it. I mean, it's just it's tumultuous. It's ripe for controversy,
And it's one of those, when it will come out, who knows?
Yeah.
Because
And who's gonna know? Like, who's to blame? Right? You
There-
never know. Maybe Kojima was 50%, to blame for this.
Yeah, no. There's gag orders, I'm sure, and all these different things. I think it's telling that the IGN interview doesn't talk about Konami, and
Yeah.
it doesn't talk about
call that?
Metal Gear. Well, yeah, I mean, just because we've been there so many times.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's very clear, like, hey, I'm off camera. You're like, oh, I can't talk about it, so don't ask me about it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And also,
That's
this is
how it works.
I mean, the IGN package is really well put together, I thought, in terms of like, here we have the establishing shot outside and like, Tokyo or whatever, and then we go in and talk to them.
Shout out to Zach Ryan.
What up, Zach Ryan? Good
My
job.
dude.
It's one of those, I'm sure, it's one of those, like, I want Hideo Kojima here. I want to sit here and talk to him for hours,
Ever.
of course, but like at least 30 minutes, and I do want to have all of that, but I think that's also a different thing than what that is. You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit like when we left IGN and people were like, well, why did you call your video "We Quit IGN" rather than "We Did This"? When I was like, I'm trying to establish that something's new here, that something's different. I don't want to talk about the past. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? At that moment, now we talk
Yeah,
about like
now it's like whatever.
Beyond and everything else all
Exactly.
the time.
And yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just happy because it seemed so tumultuous, right? And it's been such a long journey, I feel, to how do we as the gamer show our displeasure for this? Because Colin's always like, vote with your wallet, but nobody has a testicular fortitude not to buy Metal Gear. And I'm like, well, no, that's not the point. Like, I don't want to punish Hideo Kojima by not buying his game that is so amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's this fucking weird we can't win thing. And like, that's the thing right now where it's like, for everybody who hates Konami and all this other stuff but wants to support him, like, their store goes live in the 20s of December, next week sometime. So probably the time this is posting, I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to buy everything. And then will I ever wear it? Will I ever drink out of the cup? There's a weird mystery box. I'm buying it all. You know what I mean?
I love Kojima
Because
so
it's just,
much.
well, I mean,
There's
like,
a mystery box?
It's a mystery box because all it is right now is a screenshot of like, this all goes on sale and there's just a box. And I'm like, fuck, yeah. Even if I'm just buying a box.
It was just a cardboard box. You keep shitting it.
Yeah.
That's so
But like
funny.
that, I mean, that's like, I feel we talked about this in a lot of stuff, all these dumb shows we've done this year, where I keep talking about he was going to come out as a folk hero. And I think that reaction at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, right, shows it. Just shows it the way everyone flipped the fuck out and like how it's awesome. I'm just so proud of him. I'm so happy for him.
It's so good. And that video with Andrew House, I thought was expertly done.
Yeah.
And I loved like they didn't talk. They couldn't talk about Metal Gear. So it's not just IGN.
Yeah.
Like they.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not trying
They
to.
could have. But the PlayStation could have said Metal Gear Solid, but they instead said he was key in making one of the defining games of the PlayStation.
Yeah,
and it's like, I wonder what they're allowed to say. Like, are they even allowed to talk about Metal Gear?
I don't think it's allowed as much as it's a request. You know what I mean? Because it would be the same way of like, again, like right after we left and I started making appearances, it's like, hey, can you make sure you call me the Kind of Funny guy, not the IGN guy? Not because I'm embarrassed by my past, but I'm trying to drive home that I'm this now. That I'm Kojima Productions. And then that's why I think 6 months from now, a year and a half from now, whenever he's on a tour or in San Francisco and we get to talk to him, I don't think
Kojima on tour.
I get him a goddamn tour bus. I don't think Metal Gear will be off the table then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
I think it's
that
really
makes
just
sense.
for like our with the Andrew House video is like a minute and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like let's not insert this other thing and confuse people even more as to what's happening.
Yeah. For
Everybody on their
sure.
phone now, huh? That's how we're gonna do it. No, it's cool. I had to do it earlier. I had to send an email to Twitch, everybody. I apologize for that earlier. And then I took a picture of Kevin.
I'm just getting the next topic ready.
I know you. Well, I know you're allowed to be on the phone. You're the host.
Yeah, that was very rude of me. I apologize. But
No, you're not. You're fine.
My wife just mentioned that she might be able to run over and see if they have Star Wars tickets available.
That's a good wife.
Good.
So I'm sorry, I had to respond to that. Greg, put your investigative journalism hat back on. We're going deep undercover.
We're going to Japan.
We're going undercover.
Yeah, we're going undercover as Japanese journalists.
I mean, that's the thing.
In a
We're going.
box?
We keep talking about going to Japan for real. I forget if you're in. I think you're in.
Yeah.
You're on the fence for some
I'm
reason.
in if it's for work.
You don't
I'm
want to
not
just go
if
for
it's
fun?
No,
Why don't you want to go
that's
for
super
fun?
Because I don't work that way, Greg.
Here's the thing: is we'd go there and have fun, but it would benefit work. Because if you don't, here's all I'm gonna say. All right, we're going.
Tokyo Disney.
No, we didn't say
Tokyo
that.
Disneyland.
I'm in.
It's like 8 times the size of.
No, it's
I don't
not.
know. I have no
It's
idea.
not.
What I'm saying is, you're telling me you wouldn't go just for a selfie of all of us with Kojima drinking at a bar in Tokyo. You wouldn't go for that.
I mean,
Selfie of all of us drinking, different selfie.
yeah.
All of us drinking at a bar with Mizuguchi, with Shuhei Yoshida.
All right.
And come on, we're gonna go
You're making
there.
sense.
We're gonna have fun, but we're
You're
gonna set up.
making
And we'll do little vloggy things for you. How about that?
I can do some vloggy things.
Okay, yeah, you just vlog it because
You
I think.
sold me.
Okay, if you want to work, you want to do Kind of Funny in Japan. Kind of Funny does Japan. You have a GoPro or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, totally.
Okay, good.
I just don't want to bring all this shit
Oh, okay.
unless somebody's paying us. If you want to, if you're listening right now, and you want to send Kind of Funny to Japan for work, sure. Then we'll pack up all this garbage and Kevin and bring it.
Do you want Kevin to dance for you in a thong? Then send us money at kindoffunny.com.
All right.
Why?
So do
Because
that.
it rhymed. I don't know.
Third topic of the day
Yeah.
comes from
You.
patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Our boy Throw7. Big fan of Throw7.
I love Throw7. Big supporter of us on Twitch. I didn't know he was doing the Patreon too.
Me
Thank you,
neither.
Throw7.
Yeah. And
Go
he
there,
has
everybody.
topics.
Support that.
I want to give a shout out to his topics. They are very well thought out.
Uh-huh.
He has multiple ones that I look at them and I'm like, huh, that's actually a good conversation for about 15 minutes. Like
Throw7's so smart.
That's a good topic. I'm proud of you, Throw7.
We're proud of you, boy.
Topic that
You
he
boy.
has today.
You boy, Greg.
VR is on the horizon, but where do you think gaming will be past that? In 10 years? In 100 years? As a child, I read The Veldt by Ray Bradbury. Is it The Veldt?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
VELDT.
You read books.
I don't really.
God, where's
know.
Colin?
I
We
just
need
know
him.
Fahrenheit 451 by Bradbury. I don't really know any of
And
that.
it fascinated me with its vision of game-like experiences that could one day be a reality. So, what's the future of gaming? And I'm also, I know he says past VR, but I also think that we need to talk about VR a lot in this.
Well, I
for it
think-
to make sense.
I mean, I think to me the idea of augmented reality has to play into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's necessarily going to be VR, but I love the idea of sitting in a fully immersive experience in your own house. That similar to what they showed at the Microsoft conference, but
You're talking about HoloLens. then.
HoloLens.
HoloLens or just something that extends the experience beyond just the 2D experience of the television, right?
Sure.
And that gets me more excited in gaming than it does in film. In film, I'm a diehard 2D fan. Like it needs to be a flat 2D plane. I don't want to fucking put glasses on. I don't need any more experience. If you can't tell a story to me in 2D, it's not worth telling. But for gaming, sky's the limit, right? Because it is a much more creative and much more involved media where people are a lot more forgiving of the technology because the technology increases so rapidly every year, right? And that sort of is what pushes the industry forward, whereas film is still trying to find its legs with that. But what gets me excited is the ability to just to have that extension of the experience, to have things in front of me, to have the world kind of mimic, to see those Iron Man-like effects in front of my eyes with just, wearing something like a Google Glass or something that's very non-invasive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
What question you want me to answer? There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot. I mean,
I think VR.
What do you take from that?
I think Nick's a VR hater. He was on Colin Moriarty live yesterday. I tried to upsell him a bit on it. How did it work? Did it work, Nick?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, I'll try it. Of course I'll try it. But
You've tried it.
But we're talking about
in a real game
experiences.
setting. I mean, I'll play a game with VR. I'll try. I'll put it in my living room. I'll adjust it myself. I'll deal with my wife making fun of me.
But that's why
taking
I was telling you,
pictures
put
of
the
me.
headphones on and
Yeah.
nobody else is there.
So it could be cool, but I still don't see, people putting glasses on to do anything if they don't have to wear them, right? And that was the same thing with why 3D has been a little difficult to pick up in the living room, is because I just don't think people want to deal with charging glasses. They don't want to deal with buying the extra peripherals. They don't want to deal with having to put those on in a medium. With TV, that is passive. Now with gaming, it's not passive, so there's a different story there.
My thing for it is, and this is going to sound stupid, but stick with me, is that 3D is such a gimmick, whereas I don't think VR is. 3D for me, but stick with me because I want to try to make my point here, and you can tell me if I succeed or not. 3D, especially in games, like when they put out in Uncharted supports and you did, and it's just like a little bit like, all right, cool, whatever, you know what I mean? Or any other game you popped in and did it with, it was like fine, but it wasn't built for this. This isn't like what it's about. Even if it does, it's only adding that extra little bit of layer, but it's making the rest of my house look fucking weird or stupid or whatever. Whereas VR, like I'm talking to you, like I'd like to think that I am a guy who hates gimmicks and is I talk about PlayStation Move, hating it from the get-go, thinking it was stupid, watching it fail. I hate the touch on my Vita, with the exception of Taco Master now, but mainly the back touch, where people thought that was a good idea rather than put extra buttons on it. You know what I mean? And the list goes like fucking sniper scopes and all this other shit you'd have, back in the day, right? Putting on the VR, when they announced VR, I'm like, oh, it's going to be PlayStation Move again. You know what I mean? And then putting it on and playing it like real games, like Rez, rigs around here, it's like, fuck, this is a different thing. This isn't 3D, which was like, let's try to shoehorn it in and do this. Like, I'm talking about putting these things on and you are looking all around and you're in this different game and it's this different experience and it's changing the way you play. You know what I mean? Like, that's the big thing. Games that are going to be built from the ground up with it, I think, are what's going to sell people on it and what'll sell you on it when you actually get to play it. Like, when you play
definitely.
Rez, you're going to have a completely different experience.
Okay.
But
I'm open to it.
And then my other point to you, like earlier, right, of like changing the experience. And the point that we talked about on PS I Love You XOXO episode 14, and I haven't talked to you about it, I don't think, is the fact of like, I keep going back to, I put it on for Rez, I put on the headphones, and I'm laughing and I'm giggling and I'm making comments to myself that I can barely hear. It's like muted because I have these headphones on, and I forget that Steimer's in the room, Mizuguchi's in the room, all these other people are in the room, and then you're talking, you're laughing, you're having a good time, you're looking around, you're totally blanking out the fact that anybody else is there. And so for me, what's going, if this works and actually happens, and who knows, you know what I mean? For me, the next a big step of making VR a thing and making PlayStation VR a thing is having the headset on for all games or most games, and not having it mean that means it's a 3D game. But what I keep going back to is, The Last of Us, right? Last of Us, I play Last of Us, and it's this incredibly emotional, touching, cool experience. I'm twists and turns, all these different things, right? But at any time my phone vibrates on the table, I pause and I look at it and look at Twitter and I shut it down, or so the car honks or the lights are coming in, so I get up and I do this. And I'm always available to be taken out of that experience, right? Imagine Last of Us with that on, this on, and that's it. Like, and I'm not saying I'm now controlling the camera, none of that shit. I'm just saying the screen is right here and there's nothing else, and there's nothing else in my ears, and it's just, I'm in this world for as long as I want to be. And Colin keeps talking about the fact that at E3 this year, in the middle of it, I leaned over and I'm like, look around. Like, the wraparound screen looks like a pair of glasses. Like, they're going to come out and say that everything is PSVR compatible or whatever, and they didn't. But Colin sticks with me on the fact that, because even though I always go back to the Horizon demo. The Horizon demo ended at E3 and had been played this whole time, and it went woof, and it filled in. And I think what they're going to do when they say it's PlayStation VR compatible for a lot of the games going forward, like Horizon, like probably maybe kind of Uncharted 4 if they patch it or whatever, is the fact that you can put it on, play the game, again, it doesn't control anything, but it fills up and down a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it literally is that you're just looking into this thing and then it's blocking out everything. And it's like when that happens, that's when all of a sudden I understand what Nick sees in the movies and why like I'm always like, I'll watch that on a fucking plane or whatever, da da da. Like when you go to the movies, right, you're forced to put down your phone. You're forced to watch it in the dark room. But of course, the baby's in the back, the old man's in the back sucking on his Werther's original, and this guy's
damn
checking
it.
his phone up here. Like there's enough things to take you out. So imagine
Werther's.
like that ratcheted up just a notch. And then I start getting excited about it on the like I'm totally already in on the games, excited about the games. Can't wait to see what people do when they create with the games. But to take it the other level, like I'm excited then if it's possible to watch Walking Dead that way, to put down my phone and just be there. You know what I mean? Watch movies that way, just be there.
Yeah.
And so like that's totally. He's talking. Throw7's asking about what happens 100 years in the future.
No, I mean, I think
Cyber warfare, and we're dead.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well,
I
100
think
years in
that
the future, we've hit the singularity.
Yeah.
We are one with
We are the
machines.
games.
Games will just be real life.
Yeah.
That's what it will be. But see, I don't know that I buy that implementation can work necessarily. Because think about if something were always right here, how disorienting that would be to everywhere you look. It's the same image. That's got to be weird. So the power of VR is that everywhere you're looking, the actual world's changing.
Sure.
So what you're saying is just it's like, if you want that right now, just go get that Samsung VR and put the phone in the thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just play a movie in front of you. But imagine looking at the same movie no matter where you go. That's got to be really disorienting.
I mean, here's the fact and figure about all of it. Like, wake up, everybody! That PlayStation VR, Oculus, all that is going to be completely disorienting. Playing rigs, I got in it and was immediately like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, but I'm saying it's disorienting enough when you're looking around an actual fully realized rendered 3D world.
Sure.
But how disorienting will it be if the picture is just locked no matter where you're?
Oh, I understand your point. No, I totally get your point. I'm just saying that this is something. These are the hurdles we're going to have to
Right.
overcome
Of
on
course, of
everything.
course.
Like when I sat down to play rigs, like for real, and got at first it was the thing of like we were coming out of the ground and I'm in the mech or whatever, and the elevator stopped. And you know, my body was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna feel that thing, and it didn't. So then it was like, boom, and I was like, immediately like, whoa. That's a new one, but more to the point is you're playing rigs and you're running around. You're still, you know, dual stick controlling, moving, turning the way, but you're aiming with your head. So all of a sudden it was like, oh man, the guy's going that way, and I would go like that, but then I wasn't moving the stick, so then I'm like trying to move the body. Like I was learning to play
Yeah,
again all
now
over.
you effectively have a third analog stick.
Right,
which
there's
is
a
your
third
head.
way to control now, or
Which is
whatever.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
What do you
really-
have to say, Kev?
Those, what you're talking about, were just a screen already exists.
I know.
Sony makes them.
I know.
They've made them for years.
Mhm.
Where it's just little glasses. you
Like
put
the
on,
home theater
and then-
things.
yeah, it's a home
Have you met-
theater.
what's that store? Brookstone? Is it Brookstone?
Yeah, Brookstone.
Yeah, they have all that
Brookstone.
stuff.
But this is the thing where it's finally affordable and it's going to be in your house already. That's why I mean, this is what we're talking about a wall falling down. Yeah.
I mean, I think they have to have that stuff. For me, with the gimmicks and all that stuff, I go back to like the '90s and the arcades, and it's like those are the games that cost $1. Those are the
Yep.
games that weren't just 25 cents, and it's like, oh, you can punch things, or
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
ride on the skateboard, or you can play a guitar, or DDR, or silent scope, or all these things, and those are the games that you're like, oh my god, like I get to move things. and
Sure,
do
sure,
things.
sure,
This
sure.
is crazy, and it's like then all of a sudden it became a gimmick over time, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like that went from like, holy shit, this is so cool, I wish we could do that at home one day, to Guitar Hero and Rock Band happened, and Time Crisis
Yeah.
stayed out its welcome, and like all of these things happened, and we're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, and then the Wii and PS Move and all this shit, and we're like, I'm done, I'm fucking
Right.
done, and all of us revolted, and we're like, we want these hardcore experiences and blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
and those things can't exist and all this shit. Then Nintendo comes out with the 3DS, and PlayStation tried its whole 3D thing for a while.
Sony
And-
overall, yeah.
and yeah, exactly. And with PlayStation, with the games, none of them were really made to be 3D games. It's
Sure.
like, here's Uncharted, and here's like
Yeah, a little
some
depth of field.
bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that is totally disorienting. Like that is like, it's the difference between like taking a movie and making it 3D versus it being shot in 3D
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And even that's different because that has real thought being put into
No, yeah,
it.
that's yeah.
And like that's a frame by frame, shot
Mm-hmm.
by shot. Whereas video games are like fucking, there's so much shit that they have to like to do that's like that's impossible. So then you just get a bunch of shoe-in things like Sonic Generations, or like a bunch of 2D platformers did it where it was like disorienting to play
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you couldn't focus on what you're trying to look at. There was just too much depth and too many layers. And then then the 3DS happens, and 3DS was like, all right, we're gonna take a different approach, and we're gonna actually try to make gameplay based around this 3D experience and stuff. And the 3D is part of it, and
Yeah.
that was supposed to be the thing in the way that like the DS, the dual screens, games are going to be made differently, and DS games were made differently to fit the two screens. 3DS games weren't, you know, and that's the problem. Is it's like it was like this promise that never actually happened. We saw a couple cases of it. Like,
Well, you also had they weren't fully committed to it, right? Because you had a slider where everything. I guess that was to play 2D games that weren't. That
Well,
were
I
portable
turned
or
I
whatever.
turned my
But
slider off.
the,
every
slide, but the
person
slider
turned it
thing was it was mainly just because like the 3D like fucked with people and stuff like that, because it does and it causes motion sickness and all that. But what I'm saying is it's like out of the gate with the DS, like maybe not at launch, but like very soon after launch, there was games that are like, oh, this is why. And it wasn't until Mario 3D Land that it was like, oh, this is why. But then since then, there hasn't really been anything that I'm like,
Sure.
this is the 3D is part of the gameplay. And like playing Mario 3D Land with and without the 3D is a very different experience. Like it is tailored, and it's like Nintendo fucking did it. They nailed it. They made the 3D not a gimmick with that game, and they made it part of the gameplay. But then they failed to do it after that. And that's where I think the VR comes into play, where it's like, I'm sold on the VR. I think it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I was sold on the 3D. I think it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But the VR, it's like, are we gonna see those games? Are they really gonna happen? How many are we gonna get? And how much of it is just gonna be like, even what you're talking about of just like being able to watch and do all that stuff? It's like, that's cool, but it is just a different way to do the same thing. And I worry that like it's not gonna be good. And I keep talking about how like the screens aren't that high quality. I would much rather watch, like, yeah, you're talking about the distraction stuff. I'm way more distracted when the screen doesn't look good, you know? And it's like, I'm not even talking about blurry and stuff. I'm talking about just the quality
Sharpness
of the
and,
screen, you know? So,
I guess it's opposite.
and then when you're talking about like the it wrapping around and stuff, things need to be made for that. So it's like when you're talking about the, like maybe Horizon will have that extra bit or whatever, that goes back to the Uncharted just getting 3D, where it's like, you can't just make more screen happen, you know? It would have to be designed that way. And you see it now, like I have an ultra wide PC monitor, and I fucking love that thing for productivity and like editing and stuff like that. And when you see a video game that is in that resolution, it's fucking incredible. You see a first person shooter and like how much of the map you can see at once. It's like, damn, or a racing game.
Sure.
It's like
Yeah, well, you see
incredible.
those rigs where people have like the wide monitor and then the monitors on the side.
Yep.
And they have the graphics cards that will actually like quad graphics cards that'll support all
Exactly.
that. It's really cool.
It's really, really cool, and
Yeah.
it's really immersive. And imagining that on your face is just insane. But the problem with it is the HUD's all weird, and it's like in the middle of the screen, and it's like it's distracting. It becomes distracting, and that's the kind of the thing. Is
I'm
like,
with you. No, like I'm in. You're nailing it. I think on the main part of like these things have to be built from the ground up this way. My big fucking concern with PlayStation VR in particular, because I just don't understand how Oculus is going to work into the developers and people we know and how our know lives work other than the indies and stuff, is the fact that they launched PlayStation VR and it is fucking shitty ass mini games like it was with the Move. It doesn't sell. The VR doesn't sell. Developers are like, well, I'm not going to make anything for it, and then it falls off a cliff.
and I mean I'm gonna be shocked if that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like that's the trajectory. And it's like, having said that, when you do it for the first time, it's amazing. It is an experience where you're like, whoa, this is fucking cool. And like, even when we did that random VR, I don't remember even what it was, but like we got to be on the moon and like at E3.
Oh yeah, that was Brandon's thing.
Yeah, and it's like it changed how we, like, you're talking about the elevator. It's like we're on the moon, so we start moving slower just because it feels right. It is immersive, and it instantly, like, you forget you're in a room. Like VR is something really special.
Yeah.
But how special was it when you played tennis for the first time on the Wii?
Right.
You know?
Great point.
It's the same thing. And we saw where that went. And now VR, I think, has a different peak that it potentially could hit.
Yeah.
But then again, so does motion controls. How many people played fucking Wii Sports, and we're like, oh my God, imagine when they make the Star Wars game where you get to have lightsabers.
Yeah.
Or imagine when the Zelda happens. And then those things did happen, or the lightsaber didn't happen.
Right.
And it's like, why? You know?
Sure.
And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, until that happens.
There's so many pitfalls.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't see us getting past those. Like, and I wish we did. I love it. I think that the VR, every time I've used it, I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. Also, though, every time I've used it, there's been like multiple demos or multiple things I've seen, and one of them or two of them are like, whoa, this is cool. And the others are, all right, this is the equivalent to a shitty mobile game. Like, I am done with this. And I mean, mobile games are another gimmick people talk about and stuff, and like with the touchscreen and all that stuff. I love good mobile games. I hate the shitty ones. And it's like it's the ones that really are like, all right, I'm going to design this game around this thing that's in this guy's pocket always. There's a touchscreen.
Right.
Make the game for that. Don't give me analog controls and having to pretend I'm hitting buttons and stuff. Like, That's why I love Peggle so much. It's literally a slingshot thing. Touchscreens make sense for that.
Yeah.
I think I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go
Continue.
for it.
Oh no, I was gonna say, but I think that really drives the point home, right? It's not the first game they make, it's not the second game they make. What's the 10th game they make that's gonna be amazing on VR? That's what's gonna sell it. Right?
Yeah, but the problem with that is everyone has a phone in their pocket. Like that's sold. The VR needs to have something to sell
this.
it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
they're not going to get to game 10, and that's my thing about the lightsabers.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
That was the problem with that. That was my issue with the Wii, was I was like, this is really cool. I can't wait until they iterate on this and perfect this, and they never did.
And see, that's
never did.
That's the wild card. And what I always talk about with this, in terms of PlayStation, right, is the fact that when PlayStation Move came out, when 3D came out, it was all gimmicks, and they'd say it wasn't gimmicks, but that's as far as they'd go. Whereas when you talk to Shu about this, or you talk to somebody who's involved with this, they're talking about, I mean, Shu literally said on PS I Love You, right, of like, we're looking at the launch of PlayStation VR as launching the original PlayStation. We in 20 years, we want to be here talking to you about that. And granted, you if you want to be negative, you can chalk that up as marketing speak, this, that, and the other. For me, to me, like Shu doesn't speak like that. You know what I mean? So for me, that makes me go, huh? What are they that committed to it? And then like sure, we're wave one, early adopters, ground zero people, and sure, there's gonna be tons of fucking hurdles and da 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 da. If they're committed to it 20 years from now, it's amazing, all these different things. Or if they're Microsoft, they iterate on it once, connect, and then they're like, okay, everybody hates it, we're sorry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I'm with you on that, just in the sense that I want it to work. I want to be proven wrong here, and I wanted to make it past those hurdles, because I wanted 3D to work. I wanted motion controls to work, and I think all of these things need to work together in order for it to work. And that's the funny thing about VR, is that it needs motion controls. It needs 3D. Like right now, it has so much up against it to succeed. Having said that, it also has the lessons learned from 3D and from motion to kind of put into it. There's so many questions we keep talking about. Like you every time I've seen the PlayStation VR, like it has PlayStation Move attached, and it's like, so what, are they gonna sell PlayStation Move with it? Like there's so many questions we still have with that.
No, I know, and that's what's weird about it, is like, I think if you were to go through all our podcasts from the beginning year on, and the old Beyonds and whatnot, like I'm from really negative to it to now positive on the tech, and I think for the first time ever, I'm starting to think it has a shot, not to be in a million houses and all this stuff and be this juggernaut piece of hardware, but to be something that is supported. Because that my line of reason has been from the get-go that it's going to come out, have no support, and then fall away. But now you're playing these experiences where it's like, well, fuck, if they launch with E-Valkyrie, or even in the launch window, quote unquote, E-Valkyrie and No Man's Sky is compatible, and then Gran Turismo comes out with something, and then there's, you know what I mean? Like you start racking up these games, you're like, huh. Fuck, there's a few things I want to play, and then you start offsetting them with, now the new Assassin's Creed, it has a wrap. And again, I'm not saying like your widescreen monitor thing's totally something I hadn't thought of, and you're right. But I'm not. Yeah, for me, it's like the when you watch sports, stick with me. When you watch anything, I guess local news on widescreen, right? But all of the stuff is on the middle, so it's still set for 4x3, but then there's extra space if you have the widescreen.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it does that. Like that's how the games are now. Just what I'm saying is it's really disorienting and kind of weird, because that's not how we're used to seeing games, and it blocks things in ways that you're like, ooh, I don't want that to be right there.
Gotcha.
Like, it's not like watching the news or stuff where that's title safe or whatever they're calling it, where it's like that stuff's designed and everything is shot to
be ready
think
for
about that stuff. Whereas with video games, it's like, you're when you move things, you need to be able to see where the enemies are and stuff. And again, problems can be solved, but the bigger issue, I think, is the graphics card thing of to be able to make the resolution instead of it being, I mean, all of a sudden that's not 1080 anymore. So they're either going to make it to down it and just make it a different aspect ratio and like stretch it, or no, not stretch it, but just make it bigger.
Tug it.
Or they're going to need.
You're talking about if the glass actually curves around you.
Yeah, if it curves around you, like
because right now it's 16:9 and it's just rendering a 16:9.
Yeah, so that won't be 16:9. It'll be something else, and it'll either have to be dumbed down significantly to be able to run, or I mean, I don't like it doesn't have any processing power in itself, right? Like
it's got an external box.
Oh, okay. Then maybe it does have like a graphics card.
Oh no, it has a dedicated graphics card. Yes.
Then okay, maybe if it's good enough, it could potentially run things on high and all that stuff.
Yeah.
See, that would be a game changer.
I think it would be cool. Say I always default to when I think VR, I think first person shooters.
Yeah.
Right. But then you have to take a step back and you're like, that is obviously what it's one of the prime intentions for. But then you think a third-person shooter or a third-person game like an Assassin's Creed or a Batman, right? Where you're literally sitting there and you can look anywhere in the environment, but your character stays where he's at. That's fucking cool. That sounds like a cool experience. But we all know, I mean, you've said it yourself a million times, like what sells systems? What sells tech? Games.
Yeah.
Right? The experiences sell.
Yeah.
So it's all just theoretical.
Yep.
And it's a
100%.
gimmick until that first title comes out, and that's the one that's going to make everyone think, I'll invest in this. But I stand by it. They have to have a year straight of great titles. They have to have multiple titles that come out that really are going to get the sort of fair weather fans like me on board to say, okay, I'm going to put this in my living room.
And that's their test, and that's what they're up against, right? Of like the fact that the PlayStation hardcore audience, you know what I mean, these people who go to PSX and stuff, they're going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
But then it becomes that Wii then they move to Wii marketing mode, where Colin and I are gonna have two of these motherfuckers in the house, right? Hopefully we have them early, but we have them in the house, and let's say we're people, and you came over, and we put it on and gave you this experience, right? Like that's when it starts to spread a little bit. But you're right that it's like cool. I love that one game. Let me know when there's 4 more.
I mean, it needs to be Wii and not Wii U. And I think that's the thing is like, the Wii U is that. It's like it's a tablet and a controller. That's not going to sell anybody.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the future of gaming.
There
we
you
want
go.
to pass VR, but I think the VR is
The problem is
the hurdle one.
Beyond that, can you ever think about what would be? I mean, remember when you're playing SNES or Genesis, and you're like, it'll never look better than this.
Yeah. So it's like for now to even think farther than that, it's hard because I don't know. It gets dangerous.
From just a graphic standpoint, photorealistic is going to happen, and it will happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're already really
if you
close.
look at games in this generation as opposed to like even last generation, they blow them away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, final topic of the day, as always, comes from the Kinda Funny forums. Go to kindafunny.com/gamescast topic to leave a post that we'll get to at some point in the near future. Like we're doing right here with our boy Eroy Jack. He says, greetings, fellas. So as a gamer on an extreme budget, I had to save for months to replace my Vita after it was broken rather maliciously, I might say.
God damn it, was it a Colin thing? Because Colin keeps threatening to break mine if I keep talking about Taco Master.
Oh my God. I was wondering what your favorite games or gaming experience are that can be had on an extreme budget. I'm lucky if I can allocate $10 to $20 to gaming.
Oh, wow. What about Steam? Can you use Steam or you only have a Vita? Because Steam's great at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think PC gaming is kind of an easy answer there. Cheap Ass Gamer. It's a website.
Yep.
And back in my younger years, saved me many a dollar.
Good.
Now, I don't know if you guys know this about me. I like scheming things.
No. I do know that.
Yeah, I do.
No.
And I especially like to scheme to get the most bang out of my video game buck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, GameSpot is not everyone's, GameStop, good Lord, is not one of everyone's favorite places necessarily.
You got away with it once.
With their whole trade-in stuff and used games and this and that. But it's like, if you pay attention to their trade-in things and like, if you get this, like we have a 50% bonus thing. And you can add it with this and add it with this. You can actually game the system pretty well to like have a system going where you buy a new game, beat it, trade it in, buy a new game, beat it, trade it in. And you're really only investing $60. And then
One time
like,
$60.
Maybe each other time you have to put in $5 or whatever.
Sure.
So it's like you're saying $10 to $20. Maybe like after an investment time, that might actually get you to be able to play all the new releases and stuff. Then obviously there's the just digital games and indie games. There's a lot of games that are worth $10 to $20 easily that are just sold for that.
Right.
Sales, easy answer.
If there's a game or a developer you like, follow them on Twitter and stuff. People give away codes all the time.
Yeah.
Be open to betas.
You can just be really good friends with Greg and Colin too, because they hook me up with their old games sometimes. That's always fun.
You've played 2 games.
Balling on a budget. Nick Scarpino.
But that's true.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, it sucks now in the digital era where you can't necessarily just borrow your friends' games as easily as you could before. Remember back in the day, you'd be like, okay, you buy that, I buy this, and then we'll switch.
But talking about like the Steam thing, you could borrow their account.
You do PSN. That's trading
true.
was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could. There's ways around all that stuff.
But I like that he's trying to give money to people.
No, for sure. For sure.
Save it up and buy PlayStation Plus or Xbox games with gold. Or whatever,
that's
right?
great.
And then there you go. You get new games every month.
Yeah, like, I think that's a great way to play a lot of games and like, kind of just test things out and see what you want to do and stuff. Also, $10 to $20 though, like if that's all you're ever putting into games, like you might want to choose a new hobby. Like gaming can get expensive.
Yeah.
You got a Vita though, so if you have a Vita,
There you go. Vita's
PS
great.
Plus
There's
is
a whole bunch of. I mean, Taco Master's $3. You're set.
Now I'm gonna break your goddamn Vita if you keep talking about this.
I'm
game.
gonna can't wait to platinum it in line for Star Wars.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
You
I'm gonna
love
start
this
Bastion.
Let it in.
Yeah, you buy it right now, Kev. Here, I'll give you. I don't have my wallet, but I'll give you $3 afterwards.
Glock Guy 1926 says, "Hi guys, review in progress. I've noticed that reviews in progress are pretty commonplace at IGN. It may have always been like this, but I just seem to be noticing it more and more. Listening to Greg's story about giving I Am Alive a lower score than other outlets got me thinking. Do you think IGN or similar places actually use a review in progress, quote unquote, to get a feel for how the game is being received?
No.
To try to ensure there
That's
aren't
insulting.
so much of an outlier."
I'm serious. I'm sorry. No, that is insulting. What reviews in progress at IGN and other outlets, and I guess I shouldn't speak like that, but review in progress are used for the fact that games aren't as simple to review as they used to be. This is something we were struggling with for a long time when we were at IGN, and now you see them doing more. But it's like, the problem is that how can you review a game that is Titanfall, Battlefront, any of these things that is, it's a multiplayer game, you're going to jump in and do this, or it has a multiplayer mode and you're going to do this, and we're going to take you and we're going to put you in a hotel for a week and let you play it there, and you're playing against the same 100 people that maybe are doing an event down in Latin America and doing it with you, or just in your room, or da-da-da. And like, that is totally not the experience you'll have on launch day, let alone in the wild. You know what I mean? I always talk about Evolve, right? I had such a fucking blast playing Evolve, leading up to Evolve, because it was 5 pimped out computers in a room with me as the monster and Naomi and Marty and all these people over there playing. We were like yelling at each other and talking shit and da-da-da-da. And you get it home and it's not that experience. Like, if I was to review Evolve on that, that would be an incredibly different experience of me playing Evolve when you're playing Evolve out, we're just at a house trying to get parties together. Da-da-da.
And that's what the review is for. It's for those people.
Right.
It's not for...
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. And the amount of times sites in general, us as gamers, have been burned by, here's this game, it's a 9.0, it's out, and it's fucking broken, because in the review event, everything was working flawlessly, and then we got it out there, and 300,000 people tried to play it once, and now it's imploded, and it's been offline a week. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, I have to imagine that's where the intricacy lies, right? Is that games no longer are, like back in the day, it was easy. You got a disc, that was it.
There's no
updates.
especially when there's a cartridge. Yeah, there's nothing.
It was
Yeah.
fucking broke. It was broke, and everyone knew about it, and everyone knew to stay away from it. But the problem is, you can release a game right now that's a 7 out of 10, and in 6 months they can release a patch for it that gives it 5 more points. Or,
Sure.
I know
what you mean.
half another point.
Getting a 12 out of 10.
Jesus Christ, this is the best game ever made. And so, I mean, and that's, and it's hard because it calls into it really is. There's nothing set in stone for it, right? There's no set of criteria that you can apply to everything. Everything is a case by case basis, and everything has to be like. I heard those debates when we were at IGN. People were like, "No, we have to. This is the right thing to do." But then people were like, "No, but it's going to get patched and this and this." And it's like, where do you draw the line?
Right.
Right.
And that's why it was interesting when Polygon started up and they were doing reviews, but they'll check back in and see how games evolved and changed and stuff like that.
And IGN's done that a couple times too.
Yeah.
Now, like I know, like they re-reviewed Splatoon when they added.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
modes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other part of that though is the insulting part of. Do you think that they are looking at what other people are giving it and all
No,
that?
that's. I mean, I go back to again. That's like when we want to be not us. When people on the internet want to be really, really insulting and really rude about it, and like, just start scheming about what the worst thing in the world people could do, and that's what it is. No, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was there for we all were there, and it's like that
to
never
play
happened.
devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Though, did you ever come across a set of circumstances where you read something or there was a patch or something that you did not know about, and you're like, "Fuck, I need to go back and take another look at this game now."
No. I mean, like that, because that's just not the job. Like, you're talking about a patch, and like, no, from when we were working there, or when I was reviewing, that was not the thing, right? I mean, like, for sure, like, Lair infamously went back and patched in real controls because their controls sucked. But I was never like, I should go re-review Lair, because that wasn't what we did or anything.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, right now we have the greatest user account I've ever seen in my life. Dino the Soar.
Nice.
The level of creativity on the internet knows no bounds.
It's amazing.
Knows no bounds.
Hey guys, going to keep this simple. What would you say are the best PS4 games to remote play on Vita? Also, congratulations to Greg for winning Trending Gamer at VGAs. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
This is a great question.
Yeah. I don't use remote play that often because I don't have great experiences with it. Here's the thing, is that it's just, regardless, there's going to be latency. So if you're going to try to play something on it, I would say you want to play something that isn't Twitch based, that is maybe turn based. You know what I mean? Where you can get through, like, you don't want to play a Telltale game I've never tried, but I imagine that also it's just you're gonna get shorter times to answer your questions and do this. When it first came out, PlayStation 4, and I went to visit Steimer's folks in Seattle. I left mine here and was playing Assassin's Creed, Black Flag back and forth, and it worked. It wasn't perfect, but it worked enough for me to do it. So like for me, it's always playing something where I want to grind, right? Like when Fallout was here and we were watching football, I would sit there and do it. And I wouldn't go on main quests, but if it was like just clear this area of ghouls or whatever, I'd go do that. Destiny and Fallout both have awesome control schemes built in for the Vita, which is usually a huge problem, but not this because they both use the same guy. Bethesda hired away the Destiny guy to do it for them. And then yeah, that's where it really comes down to. There's some games that are great within some games that just don't work, and that's the sad part of it. Like I tried to play Volume. I really want Volume on Vita, so it was like, one football Sunday, I was gonna I'll play Volume off of remote play, and to crouch you have to hit the back touch, and back touch sucks, and it's just no thank you.
No, thank you. All right, final question of the day. Nick, I'm gonna give this one to you.
Nick and Nick.
All right.
I feel this one. Okay. Yeah.
Jimi
remote
Hendrix.
play. Okay.
It's a bit of advice.
Sure.
You're good at advice.
How do I come back from the dead?
Hey guys, first time, long time. I have an online gaming experience question for you. I enjoy playing online with a loyal group of guys from time to time, but one of those guys really doesn't play well with others. He cheats, goes against the group, quits in the middle of games, etc. I really like playing with my buddies, but I can't stand playing when he's on. Also, everyone else tends to just go along with him, but I can't stand it. What should I do? I really like playing with these guys, but the one guy ruins the experience for me.
Well, I mean, that answers your question right there. Look, you got to cut this guy out like he's a cancer. Okay, because he is a cancer. He's a cancer in your group, and he's killing your positive energy. And let's put it this way: you don't play games to make money, unless you're a professional gamer. But for the most part, when you go home, right? Why do you play games? Why do you choose to interact with a video game? The answer is because it's fun, because it's a relaxing experience, and it's an escape from your normal everyday life, right? So if you go there and there's just an asshole there that's ruining this experience for you, then you owe it to yourself to talk to your friends and figure out a way to not play with this guy anymore. I'm not saying you got to call the guy up and have a fucking intervention and be like, dude, I'm sorry, you're out. But maybe when you're putting the group together, leave him off the email chain. Or
Can
leave
you
off the
mute
text
him?
Chain.
Can you mute him? Would be my question.
No, but
Well, it's not
even
just
then
about
he's
muting.
cheating.
He's cheating.
He's a dick.
Leaving games midway.
Yeah,
He's not a team
I would
player.
tell the rest of the group he sucks. And
He's not a team player, and he's dragging down your stats. I guarantee he is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude, that KD ratio.
He is. If you're playing anything that revolves around a team effort, this guy's fucking dragging you guys down. Cut him out. One day we're gonna have to cut Kevin out. We're gonna have to have that hard conversation with Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
But today's
Ladies
not
and
that
gentlemen, this has been the second ever episode 49. Another Prologus Duske, Decuduum, whatever the fuck.
day. Hot Shots Part 2.
Birth by Sleep.
Oh, Jesus.
358 days over 2 episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you for joining us. Come back next week for the real episode 50.
Whoa!
Where we talk about, what do we talk about episode 50? We
That
talk
was
about,
the past year.
oh yeah, we review
Every game we played.
all the games we played this year. We review Nintendo, we review Sony, we review Microsoft. Then episode 51 after that, we predict 2016. Third party, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. Then the week after that, episode 52. Game
The
of the
new 52.
motherfucking year.
Whoa.
Dogs.
Game of the
Prepare
year,
your
game
bodies.
of the year, game of the year.
I'ma kill them all. I'ma kill them all. Come on. Come on.